Hi, my name is Chloe. This is Emily. This is Leslie. And our group will be discussing a section of a recent report about how race is talked about in the media and other public places. This report, Moving the Race Conversation Forward, was released by Race Forward in January 2014. Race Forward is an organization. Mission is to build awareness, solutions, leadership for racial justice. Moving the Race Conversation Forward is a report that describes some of the major problems happening in the media, distracts from or stops racial discussions happening in the U.S.
The report discusses 7 harmful practices used by the media when talking about race. Today we'll be talking about one harmful practice commonly used by the media, policy intent over. Intent over impact is defined by Race Forward as more on the intention of a policy or practice and far less at all on the daily impact of people and communities of color. Let's explain this policy. Before we get to that, what is a policy?
There are two types of policies.
Number 1. Law policy. Example of a law policy is no speeding in schools. Policy is enforced by the police. Number 2. Business policy. Example of a business policy is giving up receipt for the elderly or disabled on certain areas of the T. Policy is enforced by a business, in this case, the T. Some policies like no loitering and no smoking can be enforced by laws and policies, businesses, or both.
The reason that policy intent over impact is a practice that either stops or blocks race discussions is because it reduces the value of people and what they do in communities of color. Actually happening due to policies. Policy is also hiding the racial impacts that occur daily in colored communities.
Example of this practice named by Race Forward. In Harlem, New York on June 3rd, 2011. A teenage Latino boy named Alvin was walking home from his girlfriend's house and stopped and searched for weapons, something illegal or dangerous by 3 police officers. The police officer stopped him because he looked suspicious and dangerous. He made rude and racial comments, threatening to hurt him. According to the New York Police Department and other city officials, the NYPD officers are trying to protect the city and combat terrorism. It supposedly has nothing to do with race. However, the only impact Stop and Frisk is having on the streets of New York is to terrorize the citizens and communities that live in the area. In 2015, 80% of all people stopped and frisked were completely innocent. Of that 80%, 54% of the people targeted were Black or African Americans. African Americans make up less than a third of the New York City population, yet over half of those stopped and frisked are Black. This shows that the NYPD is actually involving race in their stop and frisk policies. How would you feel if the police stopped you for no reason? Scared?
An example of policy intent over impact that our group discussed is the war on drugs. The war on drugs have a good intention of trying to keep drugs off the street, actually adding a list of problems to communities of color. African Americans are arrested for drug offenses. Families caught up in the system. African Americans are arrested for drug offenses at rates 2 to 11 times higher than, according to a 2009 report by Human Rights Watch. White Americans are more likely than Black Americans to have used most kinds of illegal drugs. Some people might be left as a single parent, and other families lose finances. A person on trial loses their job. Furthermore, finding a job after serving time is highly difficult. Long-term impacts on families' finances. Drugs intends to keep New York safe on drugs, actually adding many troubles to the families, those caught in the criminal justice system.
Not only names the problem currently distracting from and stopping America's conversation about race from moving forward, but also recommends 4 solutions to get the conversation back on track. We need to expand our definition of racism beyond personal prejudice to systematic racism. In the United States, racism has traditionally not been viewed beyond personal prejudice of a white person towards Black Americans and other people of color. Media is concentrated on the coverage of racism and the outrageous occurrences between individuals. Forcefully limited assistance to resources, opportunities, and the option for people of color. The media needs to increase the portion of systematically aware coverage to move the conversation forward.
We need to focus on actions and the impact of those actions over attitudes and intentions behind actions. This means we need to start focusing less on intentions and focus more on the results of those intentions. Impacts are what have the most crucial consequences on people's lives, and that's where we, as America, can most successfully place our attention. It's best to put our focus mostly on impacts because you can't change everyone's feelings, but you can change the results. America has had a difficult history when it comes to race, yet our nation is becoming increasingly diverse. So, we need to work together to move the race conversation forward because race in the U.S. is changing quicker than we know. Race marriages are creating more multi-ethnic minorities. And according to Junior Scholastic, by 2020, whites will make up less than 50% of American minorities. Therefore, we need to realize the fast changes America is getting into so we can create equality for everyone in America.
Third, we need to discuss how race affects other national problems like social inequality, sexism, and other types of oppression, rather than ignoring how race affects these issues. This means that when talking about race, one cannot stop thinking about other types of oppression, such as sexism and ageism. Race does in fact affect these types of oppression. For example, a company hires a white woman and a white man. Of course, the woman is going to win less, about $13,000 less. But what if we add a racial lens? What if it was a white man and a black woman? If you think about how the wage gap is a racial perspective, the black woman would have gotten paid $1,812, less than her competitor. When thinking about these types of oppression, remember to add a racial perspective.
4. We need to discuss race in a way that acknowledges the humanity and the ability to lead the people of color, making people of color either perpetrators or victims. Conversation about race includes more choice words, representative voices, diversity of perspectives, and knowledge on racism that makes people of color feel equal on their white counterparts. People of color needs a voice.
America has had a difficult history when it comes to race, yet our nation is becoming increasingly diverse. So, we need to work together to move the race conversation forward because race in the U.S. is changing quicker than we know. Race marriages are creating more multi-ethnic minorities. And according to Junior Scholastic, by 2020, whites will make up less than 50% of American minorities. Therefore, we need to realize the fast changes America is getting into so we can create equality for everyone in America.